morning, Deborah.
I'm always muted. Good morning.
Good morning. All right, we're hopping in today with lead generation, the key to success. So some of this stuff is going to start sounding a little repetitive. That's okay, because it's going to sound repetitive until you start actually doing it. So our goal today is talking about how to find motivated clients and what to do with those people once you find them. As always, I do have the chat box open, as well as you're welcome just to raise your hand there on your little options, or just unmute yourself and interrupt me to ask any questions that you may have. Our learning objectives today are, we're going to talk about the lead generation model, the philosophy of lead generation, different types of lead generation, and then creating a follow-up plan, which is really truly the most important part. Here is the lead gen model. So we're going to, at the top of the funnel is what we're talking about today, where we're going to start dumping people in as leads. And you might be, who are leads, Amy? Anybody who walks through an open house, anybody who calls you off a sign, anybody who reaches out on social media to comment or like on a property, those people in your phone, past coworkers. We'll talk about the list of people where you can get different leads from, but anybody that you're going to do, you're going to pop them into that lead prospecting funnel as the top as leads. To be a qualified lead, obviously we need to have a name and a way to contact them. So ideally, phone number, email address, we qualify them as a lead. Then we're going to put those into the prospects and move them down the funnel into clients, and then post sale. And then magically they reach back up to the top. So that's what the lead gen model looks like. We need the greatest number of leads so we can kind of funnel those down to those that are actually going to buy and sell houses. Our philosophy of lead generation is every single day we need to be feeding our database. We always need to be constantly feeding it and growing it and cycling through those people. We're going to talk about the 5 legs of lead generation and what those look like. We're going to talk about how to move somebody from captured to connected. And then you repeat, 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 right? So always feed the database. We're going to work our 5 legs of lead gen, work on moving those leads from captured to connected, and then just keep moving on down the road, doing the same thing over and over again to feed the beast, right? To continue to grow our database, feed it with leads. You need to time block and protect your lead generation time. Okay, so time block it, make sure it's on your calendar, make sure nothing else takes priority over that, because if we are not lead generating, then our business is dead. Okay, if you're not lead generating, your business is dead. If you don't have anybody to put into your database that's going to buy or sell real estate at some point, then we're eventually just going to run out of people. You ideally want to be adding 3 to 10 people. I like how it says peoples. I need to fix that. People to your database every day, which equates to about 15 to 50 people per week. Okay, 15 to 50 people per week if we're adding 3 to 10 people every day. And you may choose, it doesn't have to be a 5-day-a-week ordeal. You could get in on Monday and be like, my goal today is to find 50 people to connect with to add to my database and be done with lead gen for the rest of the week. I'm okay with that. Then it becomes an appointment setting thing for the rest of the week. So just kind of stay tuned for that. But there's no set thing, which is why we say, hey, 3 to 10 people every day, which would be 15 to 50 people every week. So you can do that however you want to do that. A contact should have a name, email, and a phone number. Okay, ideally name, email, phone number. Oftentimes we can track down their addresses. We can find them on social media as well. But do make sure that you time block and protect your lead generation time. Any questions so far? All right. Your 5 legs of lead gen, right? I said we're going to work those 5 legs of lead gen. Number 1 should always be your existing database. Those are the people that already know you, love you, trust you. Those people that know who you are, right? And this could be people in your phone. It could be people on social media. It could be people in your email. All those people should be in your database. And you're going to always work the existing database on the 36 to convert. Okay, we'll talk about what that looks like towards the end today, but the existing database who already knows you, that's a 36 to convert, where we're going to have at least 36 interactions with them on an annual basis to try to convert them from contacts into actual clients. Okay, number 2 form of lead gen should always be leads from listings. You want to be listing based, right? So ideally you would want your business 50% or higher in leads or in listings versus buyer transactions. Oftentimes as new agents, we start on the lower side because it's easier to find buyer clients, but ultimately we want to move to a place where we are heavy on the listing side, because we're going to leverage those listings for additional leads. Statistics tell us that if we've got a sign in somebody's yard, one of those other houses that can see that sign is going to also sell their house, right? So we want to be in constant contact. We want to leverage that listing. We want to make sure we have a sign in the yard so people are calling. We should be picking up leads from the sign calls. We should be picking leads up from social media advertisements. And we should be working the neighborhood around that listing so that we are building relationships with those people that can see that sign. My goal is always from every listing to generate at least 3 qualified leads. Okay, and by qualified, I mean somebody who actually is going to buy or sell a property. Okay, so those are your first 2 legs of lead gen. We always focus on those first. We make sure that we're working the systems and processes around our database, and we've got those systems and processes to generate those leads from listings. Otherwise, we're just wasting our time. And then number 3 to 5 of lead gen are we're going to be able to pick and choose what sounds like fun to you. Okay. Here is a list of different types of lead generation activities: social media, expired listings, for sale by owner listings, which would be FSBOs, YouTube, events, open houses, business to business, direct mail, referrals, and those are from other people as well as other agents, networking groups, community groups, a farm, which is a frequent area of repetitive marketing, investors, cold calling, sponsorships, right? Schools, sports teams, etc. Buy leads from third-party vendors, right? Our office does that through Zillow. You could advertise on park benches, bus stops, grocery carts, webinars, seminars, like first-time homebuyer seminars, move up seminars, downsizing seminars, right? Whatever that might be. You might make attorney connections for like probate, divorce, or bankruptcy attorneys. Builder connections, which is a good one. Bank referrals, right? Oftentimes banks loan money for mortgages, but they don't usually have their own in-house real estate agents. So build those connections with banks so you get those referrals. Door to door, right? Knocking on people's doors, running ads, booths at events, and teaching and speaking engagements. So those are just a handful of ways that you can generate additional leads. Okay, those aren't the only ways. Some people might be like, hey, I just go to Home Depot and I wander the aisles and I see people and I ask them what projects they're working on and why they're doing that project. And who knows, maybe they're getting ready to sell their house or maybe they're thinking about it, right? So that's a good way to lead gen. Could be at the grocery store. Maybe you just really like talking to people and everywhere you go, you just interact with people and build rapport and relationships and generate leads. That's totally fine, right? Like in-person activities absolutely count. But any of these activities, we want to make sure we identify those 3 additional legs of lead gen, right? So we've got our database, leads from listings, and then those 3 additional legs. You don't want to do 5 or 10 of these. You will get overwhelmed and you won't do any of them very well. So the goal is to pick 3 additional methods of lead generation. You're going to perfect number 3 before spending a lot of time on 4 and 5. So if number 3 for you, if lead gen method number 3 is going to be open houses, we're going to create systems and processes around that open house and perfect that and get in a rhythm and a system of operating those open houses where those are a lead generating machine before we spend much time on option number 4 and 5 that you pick. So maybe 4 is social media and maybe 5 is building relationships with attorneys. That doesn't mean that we aren't in the background spending a little bit of time on those, making sure we're posting on social media, making sure that maybe we're creating a list of potential attorneys in the area. But it does mean that we aren't going to like heavily push forward on those, creating those systems and processes before we've got that perfected on number 3 method, which in this example was open houses. You want to make sure you're creating those systems and processes, and you want to be consistent. By being consistent and creating those systems and processes, then you earn the permission to move on to lead gen method number 4. Okay, if we try to spread ourselves too thin without systems and processes, again, we just don't do anything very well. Any questions on that? All right, we want to make sure, right, we're feeding that, and then we want to move those people that we're feeding those leads from captured to connected. And you might be like, Amy, what's the difference? Okay, this is my favorite example. I don't even know where I either created this or I heard it someplace, but captured would be like a zoo animal. Okay, imagine a lion at the zoo. Okay, you've captured them. You know who they are. You know where they're at. But if you called that lion, it may not come to you. In fact, it probably won't come to you when called, and it may try to eat you or be kind of mean, right? That's captured. That's a captured lead. So somebody makes a sign call. We hang up with them. They're not actually interacting with us, or we've got a bunch of leads from an open house. Those are captured leads. And we want to move those from captured to connected. Connected would be like our pet dog, right? Most of the time, we call our dog, the dog is going to come running. They'd be like, oh yeah, owner, I know you. Yeah, absolutely. What do you need? Right. So that's the difference between captured and connected. Captured is zoo animal, connected is the pet dog, right? So once somebody is connected to us, most of the time they're going to respond to a text message. They're probably going to answer our phone calls or at least get back to us at some point, right? They might open our emails, but they know our name, they know who we are, and they're most likely going to respond to us. That would be a connected lead. So our goal is to take all of these leads that we're getting in the top of our lead generation funnel, and then they move into captured, and then we want to move those into connected leads where they're responding to us. Once we're connected, then we're going to move them into a 36 to convert, which means, right, so it goes captured, connected, converted. So captured, we've got their information. They may not know us. Connected is they're responding to us, and converted is now they've become a client. Okay. So when we add new leads to our lead generation funnel, right, systematic connections to move them through the funnel, we're going to start with what I call a 5x5. Okay. And that is for the first week that I put them in that lead gen funnel, they're going to get contacted by me on a daily basis. Okay. Once we get through those first 5 days, if they're still not responding, and we're going to go into all these a little bit further, more in detail here in a minute. But if we get through that 5x5, they're still not responding to us. So we're still not connected. They're just captured. Then we're going to roll them over to an 8x8. Okay. Once we get through that 8x8, which again, I'll go through here in a minute, but it's basically one contact per week for 8 weeks. So for 2 months, we're reaching out to them once a week. Then we're going to move them over. If they're still not responding to us, they're still captured and not connected. Then we roll them to a 19 plus to connect, which we'll go over. And that's for the annual plan of 19 interactions with them on an annual basis. Our goal is to get a response. We want them to start interacting with us, to respond to us. Once we get a response in any of those steps, as soon as they start responding, then we take them out of that plan and we move them over to a 36 to convert. Okay, so that's kind of how it rolls. 5x5, 8x8, 19 plus. Okay, connected to converted, right? So once we get them, we've got them captured, we move them to connected. Now we want to move them from connected to converted. Again, systematic connections to move them through the funnel. Once they're responding to us on either that 5x5, the 18, the 8x8, or the 19, then we're going to move them over to that 36 to convert with the goal of creating transactions. Okay, create transactions. In addition to that, we want to make sure that we create that follow-up plan, right? So that is kind of setting up those systematic processes inside of our database so that we know what the next interaction with our client is going to be really important. And then we also want to make sure that we use our CRM or your database to manage that. Hopefully it can automate it by setting reminders and such. So if I have a conversation with Mark today and we talk about, hey, let's connect in a month, where my normal connection is going to be 3 months from now, I want to make sure I add that into my CRM or my calendar. So it's going to remind me to call Mark when I told him I was going to call him. Our goal is to create a scalable business. And what that means is if I've only got 50 people in my database right now, and I'm creating this follow-up system and I'm putting these systems and processes into place, and I'm helping to automate those in my database, then when my database grows from 50 to 5,000, I'm still working the same plan. It's still set up to run smoothly. It's set up to automate the steps that can be automated so that I can continue to run and grow my business. Okay. So that 5x5 plan, right? When we first get our first new leads in, we're going to do a 5x5, which is at least 5 attempts at connections over the first week. Basically a connection a day for the first 5 days. It's going to be a variety of emails, texts, and calls. We want to try to include a call to action or something that's going to cause them to want to respond to us. If they don't respond to our 5x5, we're going to move them over to the 8x8. And when and if they respond, then we're going to move them over to a 36 to convert. Okay, so variety of calls, texts, and emails. So that might be something like if somebody does a sign call and maybe I don't answer my phone and it goes to voicemail, so I didn't have a chance to connect with them, I'm going to call them back. That's day one, right? Calling them back. Hey, it's Deborah, I'm just calling. You gave me a call on my listing at 123 Sample Street. I was just returning that phone call to see what questions I could answer for you. Please give me a call back to let me know how I can help, right? I might also go ahead and send a text message as well, because we know in this modern environment, a lot of people don't answer their phones or don't even check their voicemails. So we might want to follow up with a text message as well. The next day, I might send them an email and say, hey, I know you called about my listing on 123 Sample Street. I was unable to reach you yesterday, so I just wanted to send you the details of that property. So here they are via text. We probably don't have their email quite yet because they called us off a sign, but we have their phone number. So we can text them the property report via their phone number, right? Then the next day I might call and follow up with them. Hey, just checking back in with you. Wanted to see if you got the information that I sent you on the listing. And we may even, when we text them the details of the listing, we may say something like, please let me know when you would like to see this property, right? With the hopes of them saying, yeah, I'd like to see it this day, or no, we're no longer interested in that one, right? The next day I may set them up on like a property search, maybe even something that matches the details of that property. And I'll call them and say, hey, just following up, I set you up on a property search. I know you were looking at potentially purchasing a home, or it sounds like you were looking at potentially purchasing a home. So I set you up on a property search on, 3-bedroom, 2-bathroom homes in the greater Vacaville area under 600,000. Let me know what changes you would like me to make on that search so that you're getting properties that match your criteria for your next home. Right? We're trying to get back to them. And we might also send them a text message as well. That takes us to the end of the first 5 days. If they haven't responded, I'm going to move them over to what we call the 8x8 plan. The 8x8 plan is 8 attempts at connections over 8 weeks. So we're going to reach out to them over the course of 8 weeks. It's going to be a variety of emails, texts, and phone calls. We always want to include, again, that call to action or asking a question to hopefully get a response. If no response to our 8x8 at the end of the 8x8, we're going to roll them over to what we call a 19 plus to connect, where we're going to interact with them at least 19 times over the next year, with the hopes that at some point they're going to come around and need our services as a real estate agent. Now, keep in mind, we talked about this a while back, maybe last week. We talked about the fact that for the most part, it takes people about 8 connections to start responding. Okay, that's why this is so important. We try to speed up the process with those first 5 connections on the first week. And then we roll them over to the 8x8 so that once a week we're connecting with them, because these people ultimately probably raised their hand saying that they were thinking about buying or selling a property, because we lead generated for them off something that was property related for the most part. Okay. If no response, we're going to move that to 19. And if they do respond at any time during this sequence, we move them over to our 36 to convert. Okay. Our 19 to connect. So remember, we're going to go 5x5, 8x8, and then move them to the 19 to connect, which is 19, a minimum of 19 connections, attempts at connections each year. That's going to include 4 phone calls or 1 per quarter, 12 emails or 1 per month, 1 event invite, right? Let's invite them to something to show up. It could be even as simple as like, hey, I think I've got a property that might match. Come to my open house this weekend. Or maybe you're doing a special open house, like a Twilight open house or something. Like, invite them to that. It could be National Night Out. It could be that you're hosting, maybe you're doing a farm and you're doing a garage sale inside that farm. Maybe you're inviting them to the garage sale event. Maybe you're doing something big and spectacular. Maybe you're renting out a theater and showing them a new release movie, right? Could be lots of things. We'd like to send them 2 mailings per year, so something in the mail. One of those could be like if they already own a house, maybe they're a potential seller lead, maybe they're getting a copy of like a comparative market analysis on their current property once a year. At any time during this 19 to connect, they start responding, we're going to move them over to the 36 to convert. Now, I would recommend personally on the 12 emails that maybe they be something easy that we could reuse on the 36 to convert, because we're going to talk about that in a minute as well. But maybe it's a newsletter that you're sending them out once a month. Maybe you've got them on a if they're a homeowner, maybe you've got them on a property update through like Real Scout once a month, where they're getting the neighborhood update. Maybe you are, maybe they're all buyer leads. Maybe you've got them tagged in your database as buyer leads versus seller leads. And maybe our buyer leads, they get an email once a month that talks about the benefits of home ownership and how to go about buying a home, right? Maybe we're just providing them the steps that are in our buyer consultation through email in a drip format, 1 per month throughout the year, so that they continue to be enticed to want to own a home, right? And if they're listing leads, then or sellers, right? Maybe they already own a home, then it might be emails about like moving up or downsizing or investing in rental properties or different types of ways that you can invest in real estate. Could be home maintenance tips, things you should be doing on a regular basis in your home, right? It could be things like that. And again, it could be a newsletter, and it could be like a monthly update of what's going on in their neighborhood. We're going to keep them on this 19 to connect forever until they start responding. Okay, so 5 by 5 was just for a week. 8 by 8 is just for 2 months. So it's 8 weeks. Then we move them to 19 to connect. If we still haven't connected with them, they're still captured, they aren't responding, we're going to keep them on this 19 to connect forever. Okay, you're going to call them once a quarter. Every month, they're going to get an email from you. Once a year, they're going to get an invite to an event. They're going to get 2 mailings per year with the hopes at some point they're going to start responding. Okay, any questions about that? Okay, if you don't have their email and you don't have their phone or their home address or an address for them, number one, we can always search title records, see if we can find them. Number two, that might be a good way to be like, hey, I'd like to set you up on a property search so I can deliver to you. If it's a buyer lead, it might be, properties that match the criteria of the homes that you're looking to buy. What's the best email to send that to, right? We're going to try to get that email from them. Same thing, seller lead, like, hey, I'd like to send you a market analysis of your existing property just so you kind of know where that stands, or I'd like to set you up to receive neighborhood information on a monthly basis to keep you up to date of what's going on in your neighborhood, what's coming on the market, what's selling, what's the best email, right? Our goal is to get their email if we don't have it. If we have their email, no phone number, then the goal is to get the phone number. And then once we have the phone, the email, and the name, then our goal is to track down their address so we can send them those mailings. And it might be something as simple as, hey, I'd like to drop something in the mail to you. What's the best address to send it to? Right? So the goal is to collect all the information. And that might be the purpose of your 4 phone calls during the year, is to help fill in that information. That might be your call to action. So remember, all of these, we want to add a call to action. Okay, once they start responding, then we move them from the captured to connected, and we roll them over to a 36 to convert. It's very similar to the 19 to connect, but it's got more steps involved. So we're going to have those same 4 phone calls per year, 1 per quarter, 24 emails per year, or 2 per month. So most of these people that are connected, they're now getting like a newsletter from us, and then they're getting like a monthly neighborhood nurture, or they're getting a property search, or they're getting those buyer emails dripped on them, or those seller emails dripped on them in addition to that newsletter. They're going to get invited to 2 events per year. This is going to take a little bit of planning on your part, but you can do it. And they don't have to be expensive events. Again, I always preach this, hey, capitalize on National Night Out. Do a National Night Out in your neighborhood, register your local park, have the police officers and the fire trucks and the garbage guys come by, invite all your clients to participate in your National Night Out. Our goal with our connected is we're going to send them 4 things in the mail or pop buys, which would be drop them off on their doorsteps. I prefer to drop things off on people's doorsteps than put it in the mail. I just think it's a little bit more personal and makes a little better impact. Again, none of these items have to be super expensive. And then I highly recommend sending them 2 to 4 cards per year. I actually prefer 4. I think everybody should get a birthday card. Everybody should get a home anniversary card, whether you sold them their home or not. And then, you know, pick additional holiday or 2 to send them a card. And again, I'll say it, I'm not a fan of sending Christmas cards. Everybody gets cards at Christmas time. So you're just kind of in the shuffle. I would pick a different holiday to send out those cards. Okay. Something random. You could even pick like it's pizza day, right? Or pie day or whatever it is, and send them a card to wish them happy pizza day, happy National Pizza Day. All right. So something fun. So that's the 36. So again, we're going to get those leads. We're going to put them on that 5x5 to get them to still respond to us. And just so you guys know, even if it's like a sign call, they're still going to go on that 5x5 to make sure they're still answering my phone calls and responding to my text messages before I move them to the 36 to convert. So it goes 5x5, 8x8, 19. And if any point on any of those steps, they start responding to you, they automatically get moved over to this 36 to convert. Do we have any questions on those interaction plans or how we're going to make those connections with our captured and our connected clients? Okay. For our phone calls, we talked about this last week. I'll talk about it again. I highly recommend that you follow a plan, either like a DTD2 or a 5x5. For new leads coming in, it makes it pretty easy because more than likely they called off the sign or they started responding to something. We sent them a message or something. Now they've called us. That's just going to be our initial check-in, and that's going to be the start of these calls. So you don't even necessarily have to follow the plan for those. We're just going to set it up that, hey, in 3 months, we're going to call them again. If we don't have a plan to touch base with them before then, if they're active buyers or sellers, obviously we might have a follow-up plan that's more frequent. But at the very least, if we talk to somebody, they're like, yeah, you know, we were thinking about buying, we decided that now is not the time, then we're going to move them to, hey, I'm going to call them again in 3 months. Okay. The initial can just be a check-in. So if they're people that you haven't touched to, oftentimes we start throwing leads in our database that were people in our phone that maybe we don't really have a relationship with. You know, maybe it's through our kids through school or sports. Maybe it's previous coworkers. They may not remember us. And we're going to start putting all those people in our database, and you can just do an initial check-in. It doesn't have to be business related. It might just be, hey, you know, it's Amy. I was just calling this touch base and see how it was going, or sorry, it's been so long since connected. I just wanted to see how things were going, right? Are you still working at, we're going to do the Ford sandwich, which is family, occupation, recreation, dreams. And that's going to be, you know, you're going to talk about their family, what they do for work, what they enjoy doing, and what they want to do in the future. And I highly recommend using a 3-attempt approach. Okay. Which means that if these are my people I'm supposed to connect with this week, I'm going to call them all on Monday. There's the DTD2 schedule. Hold on, we'll come back to this. I'm going to call them all on Monday. I'm going to leave a message. Hi, it's Amy. Hi, Mark, it's Amy with Realty One Group Fox. I was just wanting to check in with you. I'll try you later this week, right? Call number 2, ring, ring. They don't answer. We might just send a text message instead of leaving a phone message. We might just go, hey, I was just checking in. I hope you're having a great day. I'll try you later this week. Later that week, we're going to call them for the 3rd time. This time we're going to leave a message and text. The voicemail is going to be something like, hey, Mark, it's Amy. Sorry we weren't able to connect this week. I hope you are doing well. If you need anything real estate related or anything else, please don't hesitate to reach out. Have a fabulous day. Right? Or have a great day. I'm also going to send them a text message at the same time that says, hey, I hope you're having a great day. If you need anything real estate related or anything else, don't hesitate to reach out. We will connect next time. Right now, I'm ending the connection with that and just leaving them a message to remind them that I'm in real estate. Okay, so that's going to be my 3-attempt approach. It could be like Monday, Wednesday, Friday. It could be Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday. It could be Monday, Tuesday, Thursday. There's no wrong or right rhythm or reason to do it. It's just we're hoping that if we call and leave a message that maybe the 2nd time we call later that week, they're actually going to answer our phone call. So the goal is to make more connections and get more conversations. So that's why we do the 3-attempt approach. Any questions on that? All right, this was that DTT2 schedule. So for anybody existing in your database, you can start calling them either on this plan or by the 5x5. This is, hey, week number 1, we call everybody whose last names end in A and W. Week number 2, we call everybody that ends in B and E. Week number 3, we're D and O. Week number 4, H and V, right? And then we just rinse and repeat. So this is quarter 1, quarter 2, quarter 3, and we're in quarter 4 right now, getting ready to head into the first quarter of 2024. Okay. If you really want to level up your calling, and I would do this probably not for my 19 to connect, although even for the 19 to connect, especially if you don't have very many people in your database, you could do this. It's where we are going to connect with them at least once per month, in addition to the emails and the event invites and the mailed items or pop-by items. On month 1, they're going to get a phone call. Month 2, they're going to get a social media connection, right? I'm going to track them down on social media, comment on some of their posts, or even leave them a direct message. And then month 3, they're going to get either a text or card. So either a text message from me or a card in the mail. And then we're going to repeat that. So that takes you through 1 quarter. Then we're going to go and repeat that. So then month number 4, they get a phone call. Month number 5, they get social media connection. Month number 6, they get a text or card. And then we just keep repeating that every 3 months. It sets us up for a higher level of connection with our potential clients. Okay. We talked about that Ford sandwich. We're going to discuss family, occupation, recreation, dreams. We're going to open all of our phone calls with Ford. Okay. Hey, how is everything going? How's your family? How's the, are you still working at the Ford dealership? Like whatever it might be, we're going to have those conversations. You don't have to touch on all 4 of these items, but we're just using those as a springboard to build relationship with our potential clients. Then we're going to introduce the business portion of the phone call in the middle. That's why we call it a Ford sandwich. The Ford is the bread. So family, occupation, recreation, dreams is on one side, business in the middle. We're going to talk about whatever it was we were calling them for, referrals, business. Do they know anybody looking to buy, sell, or invest in real estate? Hey, I've got a really cool listing coming up in your neighborhood. Who do you know that should move there? Whatever that might be. Then we're going to end it with the other piece of bread or the other Ford. So we're going to revisit what we talked about at the beginning of the phone call. Oh my gosh, I hope you have so much fun on vacation. Man, I really hope your job gets a little bit better, or good luck on finding that next job. I'll let you know if I hear anything, right? Whatever it might be, we're going to wrap it back up with the family, occupation, recreation, and dreams. Okay, we talked about this 3 attempt approach, and that brings us to the end. Do you have any questions about those? We're going to dive deeper, just so you know, when we move into our 12 days of systems and processes to build your business here at the end of the month and beginning of January, we're going to dive into a lot of different lead gen methods and how to run those at a much higher level. So that'll be a good place to plug into, as well as throughout this year and at the end of last year. Last year I did 12 days of lead gen. So we focused on 12 different types of lead generation, and those calls are all recorded and on the YouTube channel. So if you're wondering what you should do for lead gen, you can hop in and listen to those phone calls or those recorded videos. Sorry, not phone calls, but recorded videos, so that you can think about what you want to do for lead generation. There's no wrong or right answers, except that I would say, hey, number 1, focus on your database. Number 2, leads from listings, and then choose those 3 additional lead gen methods. Anybody have any questions or anything before we wrap up for today? And the attendance link is in the chat box.
Oh yeah, I had a question, Amy. Copy of these slides, we can access them through the Realty One corporate site, correct?
No, these slides are different, but I will share them with Abby, and then we have the training tracker that lists all the trainings with the videos that's associated with those, and then any information that also goes along with those. So I'll have her post these slides. In fact, if you log your attendance, she can send it to you directly, as well as post it with the recording as well.
Thank you.
Okay. Oh, and she put a link for that training tracker, the spreadsheet, in the chat box as well. So if you don't have that, click on it, make sure you save it as one of your favorites on your Google Drive so that you can access that in the future, because that has the training schedule with all the trainings linked to it, and then all the materials as well. Fabulous. Hope everybody has a great day. This concludes our trainings for this week. We will be back next week on Tuesday at 10:30, and we'll be covering the second half of the forms updates for the car forms library that's coming out on December 18th. So we'll be covering those other additional updates. So we'll see you all on Tuesday at 10:30.